Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Fusion of Honor, where we break down everything that happens in MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. We have a lot to get to this week because it feels as though it was just yesterday, but there's another Ring of Honor pay-per-view ahead of us. When you understand that there's glory by honor, you understand then that you will die before you want to be dishonored. And that's where we're headed. That was horrible. That is where we are headed.
I knew where you were going with this, so it's understandable. I got it.
That is where we are headed this Sunday when Ring of Honor presents to us Death by Dishonor from the 2300 Arena. And luckily, with my bad jokes and puns, I do have somebody that gets it. And of course, I am talking about my co-host, the three-time baby-making champ who decided that a Griselda concert was more important to him than seeing Bandito, because he probably expects Bandito to lose because Bandito is a transitional champion and should have never won that title in the first place. Ness, how are you doing today?
Thanks for that amazing intro. To be fair, if COVID wasn't running rampant in Florida, they would never have brought this to Philadelphia.
That's true. That is a very good.
That's my only scapegoat.
That's a very good one though. So.
Yeah, but had I known that this was going to happen prior to getting the ticket, I possibly would have went to the concert anyway. But just throwing that out there. But I'm still going to get to watch it on Honor Club, so it's going to be all good. But yeah, this is shaping up to be a very, very great card for Death by Dishonor. And this was a decent showing on this episode of Ring of Honor. A lot to unpack, so I'm ready to get right into it.
Of course, guys. And before we do, we want to remember and remind you guys to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. The march to 1,600 subscribers continues, and if you are not already subscribed and you are watching, just hit the button, because everything else on this channel is absolutely amazing. Like, where else are you going to get incredibly long-winded arguments as people watch SmackDown and Rampage as we did last night? Only the return of Finn Balor as the Demon in a poorly placed segment can do that. But that is.
I want to say that I didn't want to start you guys off on a sour note. I was really going to tag you guys in this. It was under somebody's comment on Instagram. I forgot what page it was. It might have been WWE. It might have been whatever the case may be. The comment literally said, "What's the point of bringing back the Demon? We know he's not going to beat Roman." And I tagged Romeo. I was like, this guy knows. It's like, this guy gets it. I was going to tag you, Top Guy, everybody that was pretty much on the same page. We're going to be lined up in the tags, just with Romeo by himself, because he was the only one defending that bullshit. Like, oh my god,
it was kind of funny to me because when we were doing the live stream last night, one of the thoughts that popped in my head was, you got out from watching WWE, and now somehow they're pulling you back in.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed. But I cannot be annoyed by this MLW news that we got, and that is that starting September 22nd, we will be getting MLW Fusion, I believe it's called Alpha, on YouTube, and they're coming back to YouTube with content. I know that they are also doing TV tapings this weekend, so I'm sure that will be what we are seeing before us. There will probably also be a little bit of a build towards the October 2nd Fightland show, where Hammerstone will be putting his national championship on the line against Jacob Fatu and Fatu's World Heavyweight Championship. Unrelated, that seems a little weird that I know he wanted to do kind of the unification, but it seems a little weird that he won Battle Riot and his reward is potentially losing his championship. Like, that doesn't seem fair at all.
It doesn't.
But
it really, I guess doesn't matter to think about it like shit.
But
you could just you win the Battle Riot, you should just automatically be able to just get the shot at the title.
No, but I'm saying, even if he loses, he shouldn't lose his title.
Well, yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. So, I guess it just means that Contra Unit really does control the world and control all of the everything that happens in MLW. They control, but what they don't control is Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor, we have a nice little episode here before we get to Death Before Dishonor. We're going to give you a complete rundown of the pay-per-view card and our predictions. But we can't talk about some of those predictions until we know who is in the finals of the Women Championship Tournament. The Ring of Honor Women's Championship Tournament has had some interesting twists, some nice turns, some pivots, but all of that being said and done, we kind of get to a potential resolution that we all, well, at least your two intrepid co-hosts saw coming even from the beginning. So let's start off with the first match of the night where Trisha Dora is taking on Miranda Alize. This is for the spot in the finals. This match was, they gave them time.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I will say I do appreciate about this match. They gave these women time. They let them fight in the ring. They let them fight outside the ring. If this was a moment for either of them to get into the finals, it was going to be one that was earned. That is kind of, that was the feeling of the match. And we can say now that after 12 minutes and 16 seconds, we do know who will be one half of the finals, and it is none other than the Lucha baddie, Miranda Alize. She was able to put away Trisha Dora. I like the match. It's weird. It's a weird position to be in, and Ness and I share these thoughts, so I'm going to let him explain it a little bit more. But I liked the match. It just feels as though something about Miranda Alize's journey through the tournament has felt something has been off about it. And maybe Ness can put that into better words for me. But I liked the match. I just felt like we kind of knew where it was going. You didn't need to give them 12 minutes to get to where we were going with this. I appreciated it because it allowed them to showcase their abilities. And for somebody like Trisha Dora, she's no longer in the tournament, so she's not signed to Ring of Honor, at least where the two women in the next match are. So giving her that showcase is great for her career and great for her potential return to Ring of Honor. It just kind of felt as though once we hit the 8-minute mark, it was kind of like, okay, we know where this is. Like we kind of knew where this was going. Let's just kind of get to the end result. But Ness, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I have to agree. The match was decent. But now this is where my markiness is going to come out. Specifically for this side of the bracket, we had an idea of, who we wanted to win versus who we thought would win. It could have been, we had a number of people that, had potential coming out of this side of the bracket. But at the end of the day, we were always like, well, they're extremely high on Miranda Alize. So it could come down to Miranda Alize versus this person, Miranda Alize versus that person. That one common denominator was the fact that it was going to be Miranda Alize coming to the finals of this, or the semifinals of the bracket. So the last few matches that she's had, or the last two specifically for me, her versus Nicole Savoy and her versus Trisha Dora, I'm getting kind of like not a full-fledged heel vibes from her, but like that's her attitude that they're going with. But it's kind of coming off like she's in a babyface position. And it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
If it's like she had to battle, she's battling against the odds, so to speak, in these matches because Nicole Savoy went to town on her. Trisha Dora definitely put through everything at Miranda Alize in this episode, and it just seemed like the little bit of offense that she got in the match decided the match. After all the punishment that she took. She really didn't do that much, in my opinion. She really didn't do that much damage to Trish or Nicole Savoy to pick up the victories. Again, it wasn't a bad match overall. It was just like, all right, we kind of had an idea of where the finish would go. And it kind of took me out of it a little bit, honestly. But and now she's like, I'm the star, or you got to be more than a good wrestler, and it's just like, all right, you are a good wrestler, but I don't see star power written all over Miranda Alize. And that's not to say that she doesn't necessarily have. I know. I think I know where you're going to go with this.
To be fair, you were like over the moon about her sombrero mask combination.
That's
like 2 weeks ago.
that I was, and I'll explain, because you guys know I am a huge Lucha Libre fan. I love Lucha Libre, mask, all that stuff. But it seems like they potentially could forego without that. Only reason I'm saying that is because they're going to need a heel in this, somewhere in this feud, or just this storyline, far as, you know, one side of the bracket and the next side of the bracket. You're not going to have two happy-go-lucky, just happy to be here baby faces facing off each other to win this. And I think that's the way they're trying to spin it now. So, and at the end of the day, she's the Lucha baddie. Now, with that name as the quote-unquote baddie, I'm not thinking about good person, bad person. I'm just thinking about...
Oh, what are you thinking about, Nancy?
Hot-ass Hispanic woman. So... I'll be completely honest. That's what comes to mind when I think of that. I don't think of that, and that's just on me. You know, I dropped the ball with that, guys. So maybe the signs has been in my face this whole time, and I'm ignoring it.
That's what was in your face.
That's. But nonetheless, I'm here for it still. Regardless, I'm not disappointed or anything like that. That's just, you know, a little gripe that I had with it. But I think now, if that's actually the way that they were going to go this whole time, I think that's just the attitude that she should have had throughout the whole tournament. Now, I'm not saying she hasn't been confident and didn't think that she was going to, like, you know, come out of this side of the bracket. It's just, it seems like an attitude change is happening rapidly, with just how fast we're coming up on the finals. You know, like I said, the last her last showing against Nicole Savoy, she's biting. That's not something that she usually does, apparently, according to Nicole Savoy. That was something that was just thrown in the match, I guess, as a need of desperation, you know, because she has to do anything, or willing to do anything, to become Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Again, in this match against Trisha Dora, not really so much heel vibes. It was just more of her attitude, so to speak. You know, with her promo prior to the match, and then afterwards, it didn't seem like she didn't even want to. At one point, it seemed like she didn't even want to adhere to the code of honor. She was just going to leave the ring, you know. Yeah. So, like, I think that's they're trying to tell that story going forward. I just think that that's something that they should have been building up this whole time.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think it would have. See, it's weird because we kind of predicted Allison Kay and Miranda Alize in the finals. And I think it would have made more sense if she had beaten Allison Kay as opposed to Trisha Dora. Because no slight to Trisha Dora whatsoever, but Allison Kay is the larger name. Yeah. Allison Kay is a former multiple world women's champion in different companies. So I think if she had been able to, if she was overcoming Allison Kay, it would have felt a little bit different, and it would have felt more earned that she is now having this shift where she's saying, look at the people I'm beating. Like, I'm beating Nicole Savoy, a former Shimmer champion. I'm beating Allison Kay, a former, I think, 3 or 4 time world champion between Impact and NWA. And actually, well, I mean, it wouldn't have been at the time, but the current NWA women's tag team champion. And she would have beaten both members of that tag team because she beat Marty Bell in the very first round. So it felt kind of, I don't know, something about it doesn't feel earned, but I agree with you completely that it makes sense that they need to do this. And maybe we're telegraphing who wins the second match, but it's tough. It is tough to be to outface the winner of this next match. So let's talk about this next match. And I guess that gives away that it was not Angelina Love that won the match.
Spoiler alert.
But Angelina Love does put up a very, very valiant effort, so to speak. It's not Miranda. It's Rok-C taking on Angelina Love. Angelina Love this was actually the more interesting of the two stories.
Yeah.
Because Angelina Love is the consummate veteran. Angelina Love is also coming into this match wounded. And a wounded animal is a dangerous animal. But more importantly, a wounded animal with experience is even more dangerous. Angelina Love has been in this position before. She knows what it takes to win, and she knows what it takes to protect herself when she's injured. Rok-C, on the other hand, just comes in like a bundle of joy and is like, in a sense, kind of, it's almost as though she's doing a Kylie Ray impression, but more serious, because Kylie Ray literally is just happy to be there. Rok-C is like, I'm happy to be here, but I got to be smart. Like that's basically
like,
how
I want to win.
You know, like that's how I tell them apart. But the promo videos were really well done. Angelina Love is, correctly pointing out that she has been wrestling for longer than Rok-C has been alive. And that in and of itself is absolutely hilarious. But this is a 6-minute and 44-minute match, 44-second match. This is another one where it kind of didn't seem as though the outcome was in doubt. However, because we had seen Miranda Alize win the previous match, it could realistically have been Angelina Love who won this match. And I think that was smart in how they did the placement, because Rok-C has a story where if she loses in the semifinals to a veteran like Angelina Love, it doesn't do anything bad for her. If anything, it only makes her look better because of how far she got and the understanding that she is still new. She is still young. But as she keeps saying and pointing out, the fans did not name her the prodigy for no reason. They did it for a reason, and that's because she can find ways to win. And that's exactly what she does in this match. I got to say, I think Angelina did a really good job of putting over Rok-C in this match. The vitriol with which she was talking to Rok-C during some parts of this, like, oh, you think you're gonna do this to me? To me? Like, do you understand who you're in the ring? Like, what is wrong with you? And putting Rok-C through the ringer, it almost seemed as though, and this is, I think watching this reinforced to me what my thought process was about the previous match. This was 6 minutes and 44 seconds. The other match is almost double this. Yeah. And they got the same job done. And both of them still kind of felt obvious in who was going to win. So why not cut down on the time? Now, granted, like we said, maybe they wanted to give Trisha Dora that time to shine. More than happy if that's the situation. But again, both of these women are signed. And it just so happened, I think the news, because we're based off when the episode comes out versus when we are recording, was an announcement that Rok-C has signed a new long-term deal with Ring of Honor. I don't know if Miranda Alize has signed such a similar deal, but maybe that gives us a foreshadowing as to who may be winning the match at Death Before Dishonor. Quite famously, WWE wanted Kota Ibushi to win the first Cruiserweight Classic, but Ibushi refused to sign the contract, and that's why TJP picks up the win over Ibushi in the semifinals and goes on to win the whole thing. So I don't know if Alize is working on a handshake deal. I don't know if it's a short-term contract or if it's a long-term contract, but she's, just not re-signing. Like maybe they came to both of them and said, we want to extend you. Like, you may have a year or whatever. We'd like to extend you further. And maybe Miranda Alize did or didn't sign. All I know is there was not, as far as I'm aware, there was not a similar announcement. So maybe we are getting a Rok-C win on Sunday. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. We still have a match to talk about. And before we can talk about that, Ness, I got to ask, what did you think about this Rok-C Angelina Love match and the finals being set? We'll do our predictions later, but the finals being set.
Yes, this match got the job done, if not better than the previous match, in half the time. We know going into it. Well, first of all, let me just talk about how Angelina Love's been protected throughout this whole tournament. Literally have been protected.
Yeah.
Now I'm not even going to speak on that dumpster fire that fucking happened between her and Maxine Taylor, because I'm still pissed about that. But at least the storytelling, it plays over into this match. She comes in still injured, reeling off of, that match. The arm was worked on heavily in this match. Again, Rok-C being the prodigy, she's young. Yeah, of course, she's not been alive or on this earth longer than Angelina Love's been wrestling. But again, she's named the prodigy because she has so much upstart potential. She knows what to do at such a young age. So she knew to attack that arm, that injured shoulder, take that out. Pretty much you take the head off, you kill the monster. And that's literally what she did. Went for the I forgot what move she had her in the first time, but she ended with that Fujiwara armbar.
Yeah.
And just wrenching on it. Yeah, like she didn't even last like 5 seconds. She tapped immediately, which was, again, that's smart. Is she can be, well, however age she is, the tender age of 19. Angelina Love's been wrestling for like 20. I get that. But here's the thing. She's just as knowledgeable. I'm not going to say just as. She has as much knowledge as I think that she needs to have at her young age. Definitely, that was one of the favorites going into the finals. Like we had that notion as soon as we seen her debut and picking up all these wins before the title tournament started. Just the tag match, and then just having regular matches on Women of Honor Wednesdays. I'm like, yo, they're really behind her. And again, they're rebranding their whole women's division. Why not start with such a young, fresh face of a talent that you can literally build your whole division around? That just makes the most sense. Or it's just one of them, her or Miranda Alize, because they're both fresh faces. I didn't know who neither one of them were before the Women of Honor title tournament. I literally had no idea who they were. But now they have all this fanfare behind them, all this notoriety. So now the ball is pretty much in Ring of Honor's court to make a legit star out of these ladies, whoever they're going to have the face of the division. Now, I'll even wait before we, get predictions. I feel it'll be Rok-C because it just in my opinion, it just makes the most sense. She has the fans behind her. She literally is a prodigy. She's pretty much the youngest in charge. She can go. She has an infectious personality. She just hits every check mark that you would want to circle or just have somebody in the face of your division. So that just makes the most sense. And having, I don't want to call Angelina old, but having the most experience, there you go, the most experienced age-wise, having the most experienced individual in the tournament face off with the youngest person in the tournament, that's a story in itself, and it makes a lot of sense too. So the whole time she's like, oh, I've been wrestling longer than you've been on this earth. Yeah, but I beat you. I use my knowledge of my 6 years of knowledge versus to your 20 years of knowledge, and I took that and I beat you. And again, she was injured, so that can always be come into the story and use, oh, you only beat me because I was hurt. That's something we could pick up down the line. Maybe if Rok-C wins the Women of Honor title, we can come back to this. When she's healthy. Oh, I only won off of you being injured. Well, let's run it back. You're healthy now. We can get that match again. And again, it was a good match, and they did it in half the time. Now, I'm not hating that they gave time to Trisha, Dora, and Miranda Alize, but I feel as though more of that time could have went to the main event. 'Cause I feel that the main event was rushed, you know, and we'll get in that in a second. But yeah, congrats to Rok-C. Also, congrats to Miranda Alize. We literally had a feeling that this was going to be the finals. We called this weeks in advance, and it's cool. Sometimes predictability isn't a bad thing. It's just the execution. So the
Right.
execution of the first match, I feel as though it was could have been a little bit better. The execution of this match was spot on. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Everything that it needed to happen happened. It didn't go too far. Everything was great.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. This was well done on them. And we do have our finals now set. Rok-C versus Miranda Alize. But as Ness alluded to, that this is not the only match that we had this evening that had Ring of Honor Death by Dishonor implications. And our main event is a 8-man tag team match. It is a car crash match that makes Ness happy to be alive.
It does. It did. But wait till we get into it, because there's one point that I'm going to point out, and you're probably going to laugh your ass off.
This is La Facción Ingobernable, Dragon Lee, Kenny King, La Bestia del Ring, and ROH versus Shane Taylor Promotions, Con Moses, O'Shea Edwards, and Shane Taylor. Now, I will say that it was a little annoying that during the match they made the announcement that ROH is injured.
Bro, he's wrestling. He's in the fucking match wrestling like nothing's wrong with him.
I will say that it seemed the wrong time to do it, especially when the announcers are supposed to be talking about this live. Yeah. So how do they know that ROH is injured? And what that means is that you taped the match with the live commentary. Then, once you found out ROH was injured and was not going to be on the card, you went back and edited it to remove bits of audio, to insert a bit of audio to let us know that ROH is injured while he looks perfectly fine on the screen, to let us know that he will not be at Death Before Dishonor. So that took me out of the match. But what kept me in the match, or brought me back to the match, was these two guys trying to kill each other throughout the match. This was really, really good action. It was fast-paced. They were moving all around the ring. 7 minutes and 28 seconds, just under 7.5 minutes. When I was looking for different screenshots to pick for this, I was just like, these two images kind of symbolize the entire match. Because while there was in-ring tag work, there was also just chaos all around the ring. And it made me wonder whether or not Shane Taylor Promotions was going to be getting in on the faction war, whether we were going to get a fourth column, so to speak, in this war that we've had, a fourth group coming in and changing the game as only Shane Taylor Promotions can do. This was a nice match. I think that in a way, having less time worked to its benefit, because we knew what this was going to turn into. And we kind of were just waiting for that to happen.
As always with LFI,
And the faster it gets there, the happier we are, because it's the same thing with that Miranda Alize Trisha Dora match. It's kind of just like, hey, like, get to the point. And the point here is, who is ROH going to choke out with cables? Is it going to be you, or you? And how is Todd Sinclair not going to care that ROH is choking somebody out with cables? And I got to say, every time these kinds of matches happen, it just reinforces how dumb Todd Sinclair was when he threw out the LFI Foundation match for getting too violent, even though he had let them go crazily for like 5 minutes before he decided, oh, now it's too violent. But this was nice. This had some great spots in it. I like that Dragon Lee continues to be the star, so to speak, right now of LFI. It also makes sense because he's the only person in LFI with a championship. So he has to be the one to show out. He has to be that shining star to say, hey, we don't know if or when, well, they believe when, but if Roosh is going to get back that world title. We don't know whether or not we're going to get back the tag titles, but I have the TV title. This is a TV episode. Let me show you what I can do. And let me show you that until we get those titles back, you better not believe that LFI has lost a step. And when it comes to Shane Taylor Promotions, they're just like, who's here for us to kill? Like, that's just, that's basically what they like.
Case in point, that's it.
Who is here for us to kill? However, we do know that the 6-man titles are going to be on the line against LFI, and that kind of makes the outcome of this match make sense. LFI is able to come away with the win against Shane Taylor Promotions. Ness, what did you think about this one?
So, first of all, it being a multi-man match, we already knew it was going to break down into something crazy. Furthermore, it being a match that had LFI in it, we definitely knew it was going to get out of hand, and that it did. I love the fact that as LFI is making their entrance, Shane Taylor Promotions, they're outside the ring. They're ready for them, like literally waiting for them at the bottom of the ramp. Like, they already know it's time to go. It's wartime. There's no way we can play games with this. Also, one of the underlining stories of the relationship between Shane Taylor and Kenny King, what Kenny King did to Shane Taylor, when he was trying to have that world title match, and he comes out, interferes, helps Roosh get the win. So that's also playing in the back of not only Shane Taylor's mind, but the rest of STP's mind as well. And it was very physical, a lot of back and forth action. I have to agree, for the time that they did get, they used it well. Whenever there's a car crash, you don't need it to go, for the most part, you don't need it to go like 10, 15 minutes. I would have liked to see that. But again, they got the job done far as what they needed to do in a much quicker time. Now, this is the only part of the match that it's not even a complaint. And if it is a complaint, it's about, again, how stupid Todd Sinclair is. So now Moses is on the outside of the match. Yeah, Moses on the outside of the ring, laid the fuck out. Roosh is saying, hey, you should check on this guy. Something's wrong with him. Now, this is coming from the guy that will throw you headfirst into a barricade, hit you with a chair, wrap cable wire around your throat. Now, all of a sudden, Todd Sinclair, he cares about his opponents. And, I mean, I get it, because that could have been the time that they used to I don't know. They could have done anything there. They could have try to get Todd Sinclair's attention, far as actually keeping him occupied. That's not something that keeps Todd occupied. This is the same guy that lets LFI do whatever the fuck they want every time they're in a match. Literally every match that they have this, all their matches come down to this.
And also, if I remember right, they had a second referee out there.
And a second referee. So it's all these referees against another team that pretty much does whatever the fuck they want. Literally, Todd Sinclair lets them do whatever they want, whether it's singles matches, tag matches, trios matches. They all break down into these major brawls. So never mind the fact that the refs weren't paying attention. And I think they could have executed that a little better. Now, I'm not mad at the finish, because one, it keeps Shane Taylor strong, makes sense. And that's something that we would expect out of LFI, to cheat to get the win. Yeah. But really, I'm supposed to believe that Todd Sinclair is listening to the words of Roosh, checking on his opponent because he cares? Really?
Yes.
The same guy that Todd Sinclair allows to do all types of illegal shit in his matches. I'm really supposed to believe that. Fuck yes. No, I don't believe that. Hell no, I don't believe that shit. So I'm like, really? And I'm really sitting there, I'm like, really? Moses, he's like, yeah, he's probably dead or some shit. Yeah, you should get him some help. I'm like, oh man. Well, overall, that's just a little gripe that I have. Just because these are these people's characters. Roosh don't give a fuck about nobody outside of LFI. Come on now. And if anything did happen to Moses, he's the one that did it. LFI did it. So why does it matter that you're trying to get them some help? Like that's just better for you to get the win. But all right, you gotta distract the referee somehow, even though there was more than one ref. You gotta distract him somehow. But again, I guess that's neither here nor there. It does set up for the 6-man trios titles for that match to have a little bit more I wouldn't say blood feud, but a little bit more fire and fuel to it. Now saying Shane Taylor's promotions, they already went out there with feeling that they had something to prove, as a whole. It was a non-title match. Having it end this way and now having to defend those 6-man tag team championships against LFI, that's a huge chip on the shoulder of not only just Shane Taylor, but definitely the rest of the group, because everything that happened in this match, man, it was back and forth action throughout the whole match, which was great. A lot of disrespect, Dragon Lee spitting that at Shane Taylor promotions, Moses calling Dragon Lee Little Poppy. Like all this stuff was going on, which is great. Also, a singles match that I didn't know I wanted to see until I seen it. Give me Khan versus Dragon Lee for the Ring of Honor television title. I want to see that now. Those are like the what's the word I want to use? I don't want to call breakout stars. I'll say that. Yeah, breakout stars. I was gonna say upstart, but Dragon Lee ain't no upstart. The breakout stars of the group, in my opinion. Give me that, please, at some point, But yeah, definitely now that this match has a little bit more fire and fuel to it than all the fuel that was already poured on it prior to this match even happening. I love it. I love the fact that we now have another 4th stable in this faction wars, and they don't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, it does. And it does reinforce the notion that each faction has a title.
Yeah.
Every single one of the LFI has a TV title, Violence Unlimited has the tag titles, Foundation has the pure title, as they should, and Shane Taylor has the 6-man titles. But we talked about the women's title, which means that only leaves one title left for us to talk about. And that's where we are going when it comes to this Death by Dishonor preview. When it comes to our predictions, of course, we will save that world title prediction for last. When it comes to this 6-man tag title match, which is going to be at the pay-per-view, I feel as though because of this match, if sometime today or tomorrow morning, they were to announce that, and especially because Roosh is no longer there, just to add a little juice to the match and give reason to watch it. If they were to change this into a Philadelphia street fight, I would not be surprised if they found a way, because of everything that's happening between these two factions, if they changed it, because there's not enough violence for Philadelphia, I guess is what I'm trying to say when I look at this card. There's there's no match with a stipulation. And I don't know. That seems a little, we do have the Violence Unlimited match, but it just seems as though this could be right for some kind of a Philadelphia street fight or some kind of a stipulation that adds some juice to it. Since Roosh is no longer there, thank you, Caprice and Riccaboni, for telling me that while I was watching Roosh probably injure Moses. So let's talk about. Let's start with that 6-man title match. If Roosh had been there, it may have tipped the scales. But Roosh not being there means that I believe that these 6-man titles are staying right where they are. Bestia has taken that pin for his son and Kenny King. And like that's how this shakes out to me. What do you think about this?
I gotta agree. The way that this match ended, it just seems like they got to get their comeuppance at Death by Dishonor.
Yeah, and actually, before we start with the pay-per-view, we need to talk about Hour 1, which is going to have a 15-man Honor Rumble with the winner, as far from what I understand, getting a world title shot at a later date. Let me just check real quick. No, while there are 5 people who are yet to be announced, as of right now, Flip Gordon is not in the match. So if he is and wins, maybe we don't see him use the title shot for another 3 years, but hopefully he won't win. So let's talk about who we do know is in the match, and then we don't. I'm pretty sure Flip Gordon's going to be one of those 5 that hasn't been announced. But the 10 men that are announced is Silas Young, Beer City Bruiser, Brian Malonis, PJ Black, Ray Horace, Sledge, Dak Draper, Brian Johnson, Danhausen, and Joe Keys. Now, I kind of want to see Ray Horace win, just because I think there could be a nice, respectful world title match between Bandito, Ray Horace, give Bandito another win because of what I think is going to happen, or what I would like to see happen in the main event, and what I think that Ray Horace Bandito match could turn into. But I'm gonna go with Ray Horace. Who do you got for this one?
Man. So there's 5 people that
there
been
are 5 people that have not been announced, and Flip Gordon does not have a match on the card. He doesn't have a match on the main.
I wouldn't want him to win this. Like we got that out of the way. Shit. Can you say those names one more time?
Sure. Silas Young, Beer City Bruiser, Brian Malonis, PJ Black, Ray Horace, Sledge, Dak Draper, Brian Johnson, Danhausen, Joe Keys. I feel like you were contractually obligated to pick someone. Pick a particular person.
Now, who I would like to win? Come on, man, it's a Mecca.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're contractually obligated
for that to happen. But I have a feeling it's going to be one of those 5 that haven't been announced yet.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We have no idea who it's going to be. I mean, they could
that's the thing. Yeah,
they could be dojo people. They could, like, Flip Gordon obviously is going to be one of them, but they could also be some of those released people. It just feels a little. I mean, but then again, like, this is. And I was going to say it would feel weird to have them debut on what is in essence YouTube, but at the same time, it could make sense because this is your final selling for the pay-per-view. Right. So I don't know. Is it a coincidence that Bobby Fish put his Pro Wrestling Tees store back up? I don't know. Could we potentially have Bobby Fish enter this, win, and then a stare down between him and the winner of the world title match in the main card? Who knows? It's possible. Anything is possible. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a safe bet to pick on one of the question marks of the match for sure. And it is something that we'll have to see. Because it still hasn't been announced who these people are going to be. I definitely want to see how all of that shakes out. But let's talk about a match where we do know all of the participants. We didn't know at first, because we did know that there was going to be 2 people who were recently released by WWE. We didn't know who it was going to be. Now we do know for a fact. Quinn McKay confirmed that it will be Taylor Rust taking on Jake Atlas, 2 people who were recently part of NXT. And here we got to lean on that NX3 knowledge. We got to lean on that to be able to know more about these guys who could potentially win this match. I feel like for me, this is a coin flip. I'll take Jake Atlas, but tell me more about these guys and who you think could win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jake Atlas, even though I just think that would just be making a little bit more sense. Now, I only got to see a little bit of Taylor Rust. From what I did see, it was very good, and a lot of people have been talking about wanting to see him in Ring of Honor. Specifically into the pure division at some point. So I'm gonna take this time, let the WWE stench get off these guys. I'm not going to be too hard on them, because they want you to wrestle a certain way there. Now, whatever skill set is in their arsenal, or whatever else they've learned since being out of the company, they can bring that into Ring of Honor. Because, like I said, a lot of people have been clamoring for Taylor Rust. So and like it was all right from what I've seen, but now he has the reins off him, so to speak, and he can do a little bit more. Even though with all that, I still think that Jake Atlas is the bigger name, so that'll be they'll go with him as a winner. But he'll probably be I'll take Jake Atlas.
Yeah, I again, I don't know that much about either of them, but I feel like I do know I've heard a little bit more about Jake Atlas, so I feel like that's probably that's literally my reasoning.
Yeah.
I've heard a little bit more about Jake Atlas, but somebody who we've heard a lot about because he wants to make sure that everyone knows that he is a very busy man and he has a lot of engagements and he's all over the place, is Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle will be taking on Infinite Eli Isom at the pay-per-view. This is an interesting story. It has been told, I guess, pretty well. The Dak Draper, honestly, I think the part of this story that I hate the most, or not hate, but dislike the most, or feel could have been improved, was how the tallest giant man in the storyline was made to look like a bitch.
The weakest, yeah.
Dak Draper is the person who has kind of lost the most in this storyline, particularly because he's not really doing anything. It's really Dalton versus Eli, and Dak is the stand-in. Dak's the dragon. But either way, yeah, we are finally getting this match, Dalton versus Eli. This is a tough one for me to pick because I know they're high on Eli Isom. I know that Eli Isom is coming off of that strong TV title attempt match versus Dragon Lee. And I also know that Dalton Castle is somebody who can take losses.
Yeah.
But I also know that Dalton Castle is somebody who needs wins right now.
Hell yeah.
And it feels as though Eli could be on the chopping block because of that. He could be getting the being told, "Hey, buddy, you're gonna be the one looking up at the lights on Sunday." I'm going to go with Dalton Castle because I think he needs the win. His character needs the win more, and it just is a little bit more interesting if Dalton Castle picks up the win in the feud because whatever he goes to next, he needs to be able to say, I tried to make Eli Isom interesting. Eli refused to do it. Let me try with you now. And for something to that effect when he moves on to his next opponent, I'm going to go with Dalton Castle. Eli, it just feels as though we are continually saying it's almost Eli's time. It's almost Eli's time. And it feels as though we're going to be saying that at least one more pay-per-view. But I'm going to go with Dalton Castle. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dalton Castle as well. The fact that Dak Draper is in his corner, not saying that, and there's no slight to Dak Draper when I say it like that. Like, oh, it's Dak Draper. Like it's just Dak Draper. But it's like he's there. He's going to be he can be a deciding factor, regardless of him having a match earlier in the night. We've seen that people have multiple matches and they still can come out and help someone else on the card. I think that's going to be he's going to play a major factor in the decision of that match. So yeah, I'm going with that Dalton Castle as well.
Yeah, and also speaking of people who need wins. We have.
Boy. I think I know which one you're going now. I think I know.
Okay. We have a tag team match between the Briscoes, Jay and Mark Briscoe, and the OGK, Matt Taven and Michael Bennett. We haven't seen Mike Bennett in a little bit of time. I think it's been like a month or so since we've seen Bennett. He's been on commentary here and there. But we haven't seen him in ring. We know what happened to Matt Taven at the end of the last pay-per-view. This poor guy got. And he lost his crown. He lost his world title opportunity. He had already lost his best friend, Vinny. He lost the cage match. What more could this guy lose? Could he lose this tag match? Oh my goodness, what would that do to the psyche of Matt Taven? A part of me wants him to lose just to see what would happen. A part of me wants me to see them lose, to see if Matt Taven would turn on Michael Bennett, and if there could be something there. but I feel as though that's kind of spinning wheels for Taven. It's not moving him forward. It's definitely not moving Mike Bennett forward.
Nah.
And I will say it does prove Vinny right, which in a way, I guess, was already done by the cage match. But to me, sometimes matches don't prove a heel or a face right. It's how the heel and the face act after the feud is over. How do they change because of what happened? When a great example is the Fiend. When the Fiend beat people, it wasn't that like beating them wasn't important. It was that Seth turned heel. It was that Finn went back to NXT. It was that like all of these people had changes that happened to them. And that was what made the Fiend win. That was what made him right. So a part of me really does want to see the OGK lose this match. And if they're going to lose a tag match, you don't lose anything by losing to the Briscoes. They're an 11-time, 12-time, 87-time tag team champion in Ring of Honor. They should win this match. As much as the OGK are a great tag team and have history together, they're not the boys. So a part of me really wants the Briscoes to win this match. All of that to say, the OGK are winning this match. As much as I want to believe that it would be a great storyline, I know what Ring of Honor is going to do. And they're going to give Matt Taven a win, a bounce-back win, like 3 weeks after he loses this cage match and is like dead ass crying backstage.
In the crowd, I said, and the crowd's literally saying, "Please don't go, please don't go," and he comes back the next month,
and he's backstage like dead ass crying about losing this match to Vincent. I don't believe there's any way that the Briscoes win this match. This has got to go to the OGK. That's what do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's like that meme. You had us in the first half. They had us in this first half. I'm not going to lie, because you definitely had me going. I'm like, shit, he's going to pick the Briscoes. Shit. After the explanation, I'll say this. I'm going to go with the Briscoes, but I would not be upset at OGK winning. They definitely need a victory here. Now, the only reason I'm going for saying the Briscoes solely is based on the fact that if OGK don't win, something dramatic happens between the two of them. That's literally the only reason why I'm picking the Briscoes, because I think that's the tide that needs to turn in that storyline. Everything going on with Vinny. Thank God. Hopefully, it's completely done. They said it's going to be finished. Well, has yet to be shown, because who knows? They can always pick back up whenever they fucking feel like it. But yeah, the only reason I'm solely picking the Briscoes is because I want to see a different dynamic of the OGK and see what happens with them. Now, if they go on to win the match, that's just great for them, because they need the momentum. They need to get these wins, and that would be definitely good for them and going forward into the tag division. But again, I'm solely picking it off. I'm only solely picking the Briscoes based on what I would like to see happen between the OGK.
That's fair. That is fair. It just and it's crazy, because Ring of Honor, when you think about it, despite having a very limited roster, has a lot of top heavy talent.
Yeah.
Because this Honor Rumble is going to give somebody a world title shot. Vincent already has a world title shot because he took Matt Taven's. So this is those plates. We talk about the plates. They just keep throwing more plates on there, and somehow they keep them spinning. And speaking of keeping plates spinning, we have, at least as far as we know currently, our tag team champions, Violence Unlimited, Chris Dickinson and Tony Deppen, teaming up together. No, it's Chris Dickinson and Homicide, teaming up with Violence Unlimited member Tony Deppen to take on the past, present, and future of the Ring of Honor Pure Division. Now, this one...
yeah, let's get into it.
...is really funny.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Tony Khan did this on purpose to fuck with Ring of Honor. I don't know if Kenny Omega and the Bucks did this on purpose to fuck with Ring of Honor. I'm more inclined to believe that if somebody did this to fuck with Ring of Honor, it was Kenny Omega and the Bucks. Because I don't think TK really is that vindictive of a person, and he has no bone in the fight. He has no dog in the fight. But I will say that this makes any kind of it feels like it would make any kind of reconciliation between Ring of Honor and the Elite that much harder.
Yeah.
It does fit the kind of in-character heel work of the Elite. But if you don't know what we were referring to, the people selected for this match were selected being past, present, future. That's what Violence Unlimited said they wanted to face when it comes to pure wrestling. Well, past, okay, we got John Walters. Former pure division champion, makes sense. We have the present, LSG. I was a little iffy on this one because I was like, LSG, I mean, like, he's kind of in the pure division, but is he really the present of the pure division? No. That's debatable. But then they said, for the future of the pure division, we're going to go with Lee Moriarty. And all right, that's cool. But then they taped an episode of AEW, I think it's Elevation, that hasn't even aired yet. So technically speaking, AEW has not screwed over Ring of Honor, technically. But the news leaked because anybody in 2021 has this wonderful thing called a cell phone or a disposable camera. I don't know, like anything. Like even if they had an Etch-a-Sketch in the arena, I don't know why they'd have an Etch-a-Sketch, but maybe they had one and they were just sitting there like, okay, so Lee Moriarty had a match. And now Tony Khan. Oh, let me draw this real quick. Tony Khan comes out and offers Lee Moriarty a contract to join AEW. And Lee Moriarty says, yeah. Duh.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking that contract, and I am bringing Tiger Style to All Elite Wrestling. So calling Lee Moriarty the future of the pure division seemed a little premature. But that's where we stand. But at the same time, this match was also very predictable because I didn't see a world where any trio that showed up for past, present, future, end of the world, entropy, the Big Bang, and the beginning, like you could have picked anybody from any point in time. They were not beating Violence Unlimited per this storyline. I'm taking Violence Unlimited. I just think it's hilarious what happened with Lee Moriarty. Ness, what do you think about this one?
Violence Unlimited just because of what happened with Lee Moriarty.
And Lee Moriarty takes
he's gonna be the one to look at it. Exactly. Fuck you, pal. You think he's gonna pull one over on us?
He's walking in there Sunday, and they're all just gonna look at him like, and he's just gonna be like, yeah, I know, I'm taking the pin. Like it's okay.
Oh shit.
I think the only way that this becomes more more hilarious is if somehow this was all done on purpose and somehow AEW is involved in the pay-per-view. And that's so far-fetched that I would be laughing as it happened because I would be like, who could have possibly thought that this was going to happen? But in the off chance, well, I mean, like I wouldn't take the Vegas odds, but I think it would just be hilarious if anything did happen with that. So now we have our final 3 matches. Gosh, let's knock out this. Let's knock out the women's match first. Miranda, Alize, Rok-C. You said Rok-C earlier. I'm taking Rok-C as well. We do know that basically whoever wins is, Chelsea Green is waiting in the wings. She did announce during the episode that she thinks it's going to be Rok-C and that she's going to challenge Rok-C for the championship. That's going to be interesting to see, especially if they have Chelsea Green on commentary during the match. So yeah, I think we're both picking Rok-C for this one.
Yep.
All right. This is not a slight to Bandito. But I'm more interested in the pure title match than the world title match. But out of respect to our world champion, we will talk about that match last, which means let's get into this incredible, on paper and probably definitely in execution, pure title match. This is Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus, taking on Josh, the Technical Beast, Woods. I think this is, at least for me, like I said, I think this is the most hyped match for the card. This match has everything. This is going to be physical. This is going to be violent. This is going to be technical. This is going to be chess. This is two guys who are at the top of their game. Gresham has been at the top of the division since what?
Like a year ago? Almost.
Yeah, pretty much a year ago. Because, yeah, it was roughly around this time that they were coming back with the pure title tournament. He has not been pinned in that entire time in a singles match. He has found new and innovative ways to continually tap out an opponent. He has tapped out every single person with a different move. That's insane just in and of itself. He's a modern day Dean Malenko when it comes to the number of holds that he can put you in. The question is whether or not Josh Woods really does believe that he is the Chris Jericho and he knows just one more hold to be able to overcome Gresham. That being said, I love Gresham's title run. I respect the hell out of it. I thank him for his service in bringing the pure division back to relevancy and being somebody who has carried that title with honor for roughly a year. But I'm picking Josh Woods in this match to finally be the person to dethrone Gresham. He has learned a lot since they met in the, I think, yeah, they did meet in the tournament. He has grown. He has defeated Silas Young. He has changed from Josh the Goods Woods to Josh the Technical Beast Woods. There is a difference, even if it is just a name. But I'm taking Josh Woods in what I think is going to be the match of the night. Ness, what do you got?
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Again, Jonathan Gresham has had an amazing run as pure title champion. Pretty much, again, almost a year coming up on the pure title tournament. He dominated that, and which ironically about that, the reason why I think that Josh Woods is going to win this match is because Josh Woods couldn't overcome Jonathan Gresham in the first go around, which again a year later comes up within a storyline where Silas Young was like, "Look, you don't know everything. You think you know everything, Josh, and you still have more to learn." Which after Josh had to get that out of the way, in the back of his mind, he's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. There is more that I need to learn." And he did. He took that. He used more of that knowledge to overcome Silas Young. Now I think he can use more of that knowledge to overcome Jonathan Gresham, far as not only having the technical prowess to match him, he has the size and the power to overpower Jonathan Gresham. And again, it didn't happen the first time, but it's possibly time. It can happen. I really strongly feel that this is Josh's moment to win the pure title.
It is really interesting because I'm looking at how the tournament shook out, and Gresham and Woods was the semifinals that got Gresham into the finals. Woods was the only non-foundation member in the semifinals because it was Lethal, Williams, Gresham, and Woods. Woods is also the only person that Gresham pinned. He submitted Wheeler Utah. He submitted Matt Sydal. He submitted Tracy Williams in the finals. He could not submit Josh Woods. And that was then in the tournament, which was over a year ago because it was August 23rd when Gresham won the title. So, it has been over a year, 384 days, 385 by the time the pay-per-view airs. This is probably the best long-term story that they have been telling without making it obvious. Like, we knew that one day these two were going to face each other again. And after the ending of that tournament, we knew that the title would be on the line because every time they put somebody in front of Gresham, we just kept picking Gresham because why would you not pick Gresham? This is the first time where it really does feel as though Gresham is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And he has not been able to tap out Josh Woods. So yeah, I'm taking Woods. This is I agree with you completely. This is gonna be, I think this is gonna be my match of the night. Just because of what these two guys can do. But if there is going to be something that can challenge it for match of the night, it is our World Championship match. The Ring of Honor World Championship will be on the line when the most wanted champion, Bandito, lives up to the name as he takes on not one, not two, but three competitors in a fatal four-way elimination match. That's going to make this, that's adding a nice little wrinkle to it, the elimination aspect of the match. He's going to be going up against EC3, sort of demonic Flamita, and the leader of Violence Unlimited, Brody King. There are two big men in this match, and there are two luchadors in this match, which means that there is going to be some fast and furious action. There's going to be Hurricane Ranas, Poison Ranas, cross bodies, 450 splashes, dudes getting swatted out of the air, because you know they're going to do a spot where either Flamita or Bandito jumps off the top rope, and then Brody King goes, "No, sit down." There's like it's got to happen. They could do a spot where one of them finds a way to jump off of EC3 or something like that. I don't know. These guys are absolutely insane when it comes to spots, and that's what we love about them.
That's true.
So my personal hope is that either Brody or EC3 pins Flamita and eliminates him, so that Flamita is able to say, "You, Bandito, did not beat me," because I'm also predicting Bandito retains.
Yeah.
And that's why I picked Ray Horace to win that Honor Rumble, because I want Ray Horace to challenge Bandito in a respectful match, and I want Flamita, who is trying to get a singles match, to either interfere and cost Ray Horace, or I want him to attack Ray Horace after the match and look at Bandito and say, "You didn't pin me, but if you're not going to give me the singles match for the title, I'm going to hurt our former best friend, and you're still current best friend and brother. I will maim this person." And Ray Horace, you're a sacrificial lamb, but that's fine. Like, you know, what are you going to do? So I'm picking Bandito in this match. I think that I feel like the only person who feels out of place in this is EC3. What did you do to earn a title shot? Like, I don't see why he's in this one. But either way, I'm taking Bandito to retain. Ring of Honor has definitely not shied away from transitional champions or very short title runs in the past. But I think that they give him, and he's right, Bandito is right at the cusp of where they usually do title switches when they do the short title reigns. So a part of me thinks it could be one of the other three, but a part of me also feels as though Bandito is retaining, because I think they know that the money match is Bandito Flamita, because that's really the only feud that Bandito realistically has. And a part of me thinks that they know that Bandito as a pure babyface versus Vinny as an evil asshole is where a great storyline can happen. I don't know like what else to call him besides an asshole, like cult leader, I guess.
Oh, that's
like,
I'm just like, he's an asshole. Asshole's perfect.
What are we gonna go with? It is kind of unfortunate though that they've done they did the pulling the mask off thing when he was facing Roosh, because if Vinny did that, oh my god,
so much heat.
That'd be so beautiful. But either way, I'm taking Bandito. Ness, who you got?
Well, definitely don't see EC3 winning. Definitely don't see Demonic Flamita winning. Outside of Bandito, the strongest person I have a feeling that could possibly win, Brody King.
Yeah.
But I see more of him getting a singles shot at Bandito if this doesn't go out, if he doesn't win this match. Again, I actually agree with Bandito retaining. That's just one because I just like, of course, that's not shocking. One, at least let him have one, a real like a real fight for a title defense. Again, I got it. He faced against Flip Gordon. Nobody fucking thought that he was going to lose to Flip Gordon. Like, let's not kid ourselves here, folks.
Flip Gordon didn't think that he was going to
exactly. So now this really seems like, all right, there's a possible chance that he could possibly lose this match. It's a fatal four-way or a four-way elimination. It's a chance that he could be the first person out. We never know. We're just going to go look at the sign, so to speak. At the end of the day, I hope he does retain because, again, that money feud, in my opinion, is Vinny and Bandito. Now, as far as transitional champ, I don't think he would drop it in this match specifically, but building up Bandito versus Vinny, that is where I can see that he'll lose the title.
Yeah, and I think that if Bandito wins this match, it actually makes Bandito Vinny that much better because Bandito needs to start proving, yes, you took out Rush, who was a ridiculously long reign and was super dominant. So yeah, you made your bones as a champion. But when you won the championship, now you need to make your bones as the champion. Yeah. And that means beating people and earning that babyface run and earning that spot. Like, people love Bandito, but you need to show us why. You need to show why you are that face of the company because, case in point, Rush had that long-ass title reign. So whoever takes the title from him needs to be almost the exact opposite and be that pure kind of good-natured, good-hearted person who can show us the right way to do things. And then, of course, it makes it that much better when you run into this dude.
You know what I'm saying, man?
And I think it's even better. It's even more interesting that he does not have a match.
Exactly. Exactly.
And neither does Vita, neither does Bateman, neither does Dutch. None of them have a match on this card. I think we are ripe for having Bandito retain and then Vinny coming out and there's some kind of stare down and then they do the Bandito Flamita thing where Flamita says, hey, don't focus on him.
Yeah.
Focus on me. Look what I'm going to do to you if you don't give me this. Look what I'm going to do if you don't give me this singles match. So there's a lot of potential avenues for Ring of Honor to take this. And the other thing I wanted to say is the other reason why I want Bandito to retain is I am enjoying the fact that the world title is removed from the faction warfare.
Yeah, that's true.
It is added because it helps instead of focusing all of their attention and our attention on one storyline, which is the faction warfare, it removes the world title and allows them to tell two simultaneous stories at the same time. And you can even, and case in point, you can have a leader or a member of one of those factions trying to take the title from Bandito because they're saying, hey, we need more power. We need more momentum in this faction warfare. So I do like that's the other reason why I want Bandito to retain. But knowing what happens with all of these matches, that's something for a later date. That's something for our Death Before Dishonor review, which we will be getting to after the pay-per-view. But this was our preview. This was our review of this week's Ring of Honor. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We appreciate it all the time. Remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. Ness, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at skinny__Kravitz. Right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. One half of Fusion of Honor. We're on Man the StatKing, Man of 1,004 Numbers, where we review MLW Fusion, Ring of Honor. Catch me on Blunt Impact, Joints and Jabronis with Chris G. The new NX3. We got a whole new logo. Let's see if we can get some whole new viewers. Probably not, but be there
Man,
for
I really appreciate Romeo's
dedication.
his sincere belief that NXT is going to do 800,000 viewers next week when old NXT could not.
People love weddings, apparently. I guess that's what he's basing it off of.
Maybe.
But yeah, Chris G, Romeo Anthony Colon, NX3. We go live Tuesdays after NXT around 10:40. Also go live Thursdays after Blunt Impact or after Impact Wrestling around 10:40, same time. The Roundtable Rebels, our Friday Night Warriors, which seems to be popular amongst the channel. You guys, only the last hour of the show that we're watching. When
I wonder
Rampage.
why.
Rampage is everybody. The chat gets livelier. We get more on-screen characters. Some of your favorite True Heel Heat YouTube channel correspondence. It just goes up to 10. It's literally at 10.
It's just really funny because they told me that Roman Reigns was a needle mover.
Yeah.
Why are people tuning in for the AEW B show? Like, it just seems.
Yeah, that's a fact, Jack.
And guys, you can catch me on, as we said, Fusion of Honor with Ness covering MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. You knew that already. You're here. And you can catch me on Dark Power, where we cover AEW Dark, AEW Elevation, and NWA Power. I am looking forward to laughing as Lee Moriarty accepts that contract, whatever that episode airs. That's going to be a great moment for me. And you can also always, guys, catch me on the Facebook groups, getting into fun conversations with you guys, like trying to figure out why people are upset that Lee Moriarty took that contract, or trying to figure out who Lee Moriarty is when they claim that they support people like Lee Moriarty.
Broad ends of the spectrum, folks. People are all over the fucking place with this topic. The Ring of Honor group, everybody. Oh man, that fucking Tony Khan.
Oh my god, that was great.
They're that fucking Tony Khan, that money mark, then all this money. They just did this to fuck with Ring of Honor. And you know what? Screw Lee Moriarty for even accepting that contract. Like, what? He wasn't even signed to Ring of Honor. That's not his fault. He went with the bags. And at the end of the day, that's what they do.
If Ring of Honor isn't smart enough or fast enough to scoop somebody up, it's not AEW's fault or Tony Khan's fault that they said, "Hey, that person deserves a steady paycheck. Let's try to let's hire them for this job." Yeah. Good times. I think what I love about that Ring of Honor group is just how insular some of them are in their thought processes, where they're just like, Ring of Honor is the only thing that matters. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you can think that, but you guys are on Sinclair Broadcasting and on Fight TV. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
And it just comes off, and what's fucked up about it is because, like, we are actually reviewing Ring of Honor because we enjoy it. Yes. It just seems like a lot of these guys are like trying to force the love of Ring of Honor on everybody and just hate everything else. I've actually seen way more hate for AEW solely based on their relationship of the Elite and Ring of Honor management because of all in. And that was years ago. That's none of our business, but these guys hate AEW solely based off of that. They'll throw their shots at WWE here and there, but they hate AEW. They really go out of their way to just fucking hate it.
And the thing is, I in a way I understand it, because if you look at AEW, that's what Ring of Honor could have been. Like, or what could have turned into that. Well, I mean, sort of, but like, if instead of creating a new promotion, Tony Khan had said, "I'm going to buy Ring of Honor," or I'm going to talk to Sinclair and say, "Let me invest and let me, help manage it." That AEW is what Ring of Honor could have been, or maybe should have been.
Yeah.
But I don't blame a guy for saying, "You know what? I want complete and total control if I'm putting my money into something." And in business, it doesn't make sense to do something like this unless you have an ownership stake. And
Exactly.
for all we know, he did go to Sinclair and say, "Hey, would you, like I'll put in money. I'll, take 50% of ROH and we'll book it together." And Sinclair, the Sinclair Broadcasting said, "No, we're perfectly content." And he said, "Well, all right, then."
All right.
Let me just take this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and oh, you don't want to re-sign them, or you haven't signed them to long-term contract. That's your problem. It's not mine. So yeah, guys, just remember that wrestling is a really, really great thing, and you have the ability to watch whatever you want to watch. As much as I personally do not watch WWE for my own personal reasons, I'm not mad at anybody who does. Like,
No.
I mean, I think it's a bad decision on their part because you just get frustrated more often than you're happy. But if that's what makes you happy, being frustrated, then that's what makes you happy. Then I don't care. Just watch what you want to watch. So, guys, until next time, until our Death Before Dishonor review. And that's it's a great pay-per-view name for some of the people in that group because they would rather die before they are dishonored for saying anything bad about Ring of Honor.
That is the God honest truth. Oh my God.
Yeah, guys, you gotta learn to live a little. That's all I gotta say about that. So until next time, guys, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the three-time baby making champ Ness, this has been our review of Ring of Honor and our preview for Death Before Dishonor. We will catch you guys next time, and remember to take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And it may not be Mental Health Month anymore, but mental health is still always important. So take care of yourselves. Until next time, guys. Peace.